Hello everyone, Alistair Gold here. International break. If there's any sigh, it's because of the international break. Although there is a part of me that does wonder whether Spurs needed to just take a breath and collect themselves after the mayhem of the week before international break. Maybe it's actually not too badly timed for a change. And I guess you could argue that for those injured, it's 2 weeks out of their recovery time. Actually, that's probably a good place to start, isn't it, with injuries, in terms of a certain Mickey van der Ven. Of course, we all saw his Instagram story post. I say his. I'm very wary, and you've heard me, anyone that's a regular on these knows I'm very wary of reading too much into social media stuff, because let's be honest, and I'm not saying it's definitely the case here, some people definitely do their own stuff, but on the whole, these, professional footballers do hire not even just people, like a team of people to run their social media accounts. It may be that Mickey van der Ven does all his own stuff. Could well be. Puts together his own highlights packages. But yeah, obviously, if you didn't see it, essentially, the young Dutchman put up it was a little highlights compilation of him from recent games, and it had an hourglass, sand timer, whatever you want to call it, in the bottom left corner with a few dots after it. Obviously, everyone looking at that would understandably go like, ooh, exciting, coming back soon. I would say, again, if we're overly reading into such things, normally when players do that, they normally put the word soon. And I mean, it technically just means it's a matter of time, I guess. But obviously, people got very excited by that. And hey, I must admit, 100% honesty, as I always try to do in these things, I saw it and I thought, oh, hello, is that a good thing? But of course, did my inquiries as I have to do as a journalist, and yeah, everything pretty much came back. No, it's all currently still on the same timeline. Interestingly, I'm still getting messages from and on social media from people saying, why are the club being so quiet about this? Why haven't we been told when he's coming back? I was sat in the press conference where Ange Postecoglou very clearly said he'll be back in the new year. So yeah. That's the current recovery timeline. I don't think they'll ever put a precise date or game back on it. I'm sure internally there'll be a little target game that they might have to come back for. And yeah, we'll see what happens. Sonny scored an absolute cracker on Thursday as South Korea beat Singapore. It was just a classic Sonny goal. Where he cuts inside and curls it in the top corner. And honestly, the thing that is so incredible about Sonny is that he can do that with either foot. And we know the stories about him training, with his weaker foot and being able to score. That's why he can do that from either side. But my goodness, to be so consistently good about it, good in doing it, and so unpredictable because you don't know which side he's going to go. Hell of a player. There was a little worry. He went down in the second half holding his, I think I wrote it down, was it his right ankle? Yes, his right ankle. Looked in a bit of pain, kind of limped off the pitch as well for a bit, but he did come back on. Played the full 90 minutes, and then he actually jogged around the turf quite sprightly after the game, waving at all the fans. It was a Seoul National Stadium, where I think, if I remember correctly, that was where I was 2 years ago watching Spurs. So yeah, I mean, he did speak about it afterwards. He said, I'm fine now. I don't like to lie down for a long time on the pitch. At that moment, I couldn't feel anything on my foot. By the way, Sung-Mo Lee, the South Korean journalist, you'll know that I often chat to. He kind of sent these all on to me from what Sonny said to the Korean media. Sonny also said, it's not only me. All players have small injuries but still play for the team. We're making a team for the World Cup. I can't give up a game just because I feel pain. If I can't run anymore, then I can't do anything about it. But when I can run, I have to give 100% for the team. It was interesting. I don't know if you remember me saying a few weeks back that I was wondering whether the Korean fans didn't want Sonny to play in the friendlies. I think it was in the October international break. And I got very overwhelming response that they didn't. They almost feel like Klinsmann is overusing him at the moment. He's going to end up kind of running him into the ground. And I actually saw a fair few similar comments after the game, the South Korea game, that why, if he'd had a knock, were they keeping him on for the full 90 minutes and things like that? And bearing in mind, I think Sonny's goal was the third as well. And like I said, it won 5-0. So there was no need for him to play the full 90 minutes. So yeah, it's very interesting that. that Klinsmann's kind of is he overusing them, especially as they've got another game faced China. It's away, isn't it? Yeah, it's away on Tuesday, and obviously everyone's going to be watching that. It was 8 goals in 12 Premier League games. Postecoglou and Spurs are not going to want to lose him at all for any amount of time. So it's a difficult one, isn't it? I understand it's a World Cup qualifying match and you've got to play your best player, but definitely if they can get into any kind of comfortable position, surely try and get him off that pitch. Again, why not do that against Singapore? So even if it's just resting him for the China game. I don't get it. But hey, there you go. Jurgen Klinsmann. A lot of interesting kind of debate about him as a manager. No doubt an incredible player, and obviously did a wonderful job as an international manager for Germany, but as a club manager, maybe not so great. Actually, USA, I think he got a bit of flack as well, didn't he, as being the international manager for them as well. Chris Day 1274 asks, where do you think Sonny will finish on the club's all-time top scorer list? I'd back him to reach third and sit alongside Kane and Greaves, but that might require another contract extension. I'd be stunned if Spurs don't try to tie down Sonny to a new contract. I think, yeah, he could get up to there. Could get up there to third. I mean, playing in a central role, he's going to score a lot of goals under Postecoglou. Why not? Why not? You've got to aim high. Another good question. Adam Harris, you put in about 1 million questions. I've answered one already about the £50 million. If Sonny is subbed, who's vice captain for the next 2 games? It's a good question because obviously now Madison Romero. I would imagine if Højbjerg is playing him, and he's certainly looking for more leadership from Basuma, maybe you would. Although it's a bit of an ask, isn't it? Especially when he's had a couple of suspensions for silly little yellow cards. I guess if Ben Davies is playing, maybe Ben Davies gets it. Josh Morse, 6428. If you could pick one current Spurs player to have the same hairstyle as you, who would it be? I think your hair always looks perfect. Oh, it's certainly not perfect hair. And it's I've got to get a haircut tomorrow, actually. It's we can't really see it too badly on here, but the grey or white, whatever, is definitely coming in the temples big time. So I don't know, am I putting my hair on someone else or their hair? I'll pick it as taking their hair. Toby Alderweireld always used to have immaculate hair, isn't he? Current Spurs player, though. Sonny's always got great hair. I always remember when I was in a Pochettino press conference and one of the journalists asked Pochettino who had the best hairstyle in the Spurs squad. I think he might have said Toby. I'm trying to think of all the hairstyles right now. I think I'll go with Sonny. Sonny's got great hair. Yeah, I'll go for that.